right, let's talk future. Let's talk top 100. There's no way to transition out of that, but like we're going to transition to something that's really fun. And it is like Christmas morning for a lot of prospect heads, because again, you do more in-depth work on these guys than I think anybody else in the industry. And it's really fun to get that, up close and personal look on how you do this. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the top 100 in increments of 10 and point out a couple of guys that jump out. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good to me. And of course, the link to the article is in the episode description. And check it out. I'm excited to hear what everybody thinks.
Yeah, there is a shocking slider in the top or in the 90 to 100 range. Kyle Harrison is in the 90s, left-handed pitching prospect for the San Francisco Giants. And coming into the year, we were talking about Kyle Harrison as the top left-handed pitching prospect in all of baseball. It was him and Tiedemann. Now, not only have you made your case that Tiedemann is well beyond Kyle Harrison, but Kyle Harrison's not even considered a top 90 prospect in the game. I would say what gives, but I feel like I know what gives. He's walking 7.5 guys per 9.
See, that was just one part of it. If it was just the walks, he's probably middle of the pack. The thing that really put me over the top here, and I'm seeing a lot of other lists, I think, so far that they haven't really dropped him yet. The stuff is diminished, and I don't know what's up with it. The velocity still kind of, roughly there, but this guy's lost several inches of horizontal on his fastball, and that's a guy that it's a 3/4 release point. He needs that horizontal on his fastball. It's part of what makes it really good. His slider, his breaking ball is totally different than what it was. He's throwing it harder with less movement, and it's resulting in less whiff. And then his changeup, which was an asset last year, has been unusable. He's thrown more balls than strikes with his changeup this year. So you have command taking a step back, you have stuff taking a step back, and then some little nagging injuries. And, he's young, he's got time on his side, and that's why he's still on the top 100 list. And just about any other pitcher that would have this kind of downturn with command issues, walking 7 per 9 and diminished stuff, they'd be off the list. But that just shows you how talented Kyle Harrison is. But if you're losing, movement on all of your pitches and losing command of all of them, it's kind of hard to not be incredibly alarmed.
Yeah, well, and note DL Hall isn't on this top 100 list. I mean, Kyle Harrison's a lot closer to DL Hall than he is Ricky Tiedemann at this point, which is pretty brutal to say. And I think a lot of people are still holding out a lot of hope for Kyle Harrison, understandably so. It feels very Cavalli-esque, where Cade Cavalli, you're waiting for, things to get back to what you fell in love with. I guess Kyle Harrison, there's a good chance that things could fall back to what you fell in love with, but it's going to take some serious offseason work. Very late ad, I know, at 90, Dillon Head of the San Diego Padres. Dillon Head was end of the first round pick. And this was a guy that I really liked, I guess, pre-draft, but I had a bunch of bias because he's a Chicagoland area guy that, can absolutely freaking fly. But you were really impressed with his swing.
Yeah, finally had access to some video. It's hard to get much video on Chicagoland guys if you're not out there in person and seeing them. So, we knew about the tools. He's definitely a guy that, of course, when the Padres take somebody like that in the first round too, you kind of turn your head because they do such a good job in scouting. But dude, the swing is really impressive. I was expecting him to be way more speed over field to hit and, more of a project. Swing already plays, and he's been really comfortable in his at-bats. He's walked more than he struck out. And he's also popping some sneaky EVs, right? He's not the biggest dude in the world. He's 5'9", $185. He's already popping 103s, 104s. And then we know what he can do, with those legs. This is a dynamic prospect that can play a high level of center field. And if the bat's looking like it is right now, this is going to be the next kind of, big, quick riser in the Padres system, which we seem to see every single year.
Yeah, well, and what I read was really advanced defensively already. CJ Abrams had a cup of coffee pretty much everywhere, and then he was, fast tracked to the big leagues. If Grisham continues to not work out, Dillon Head could be one of those guys that is just fast tracked. And I'm not talking 24 because he was a high school draftee, but 2025, you start to have that conversation if he flies. Jumping into the 80s now, Arjun Nimmala was a guy that slid a teensy bit to Toronto in this year's first round. And Nimmala, I think you and I both really enjoyed. what convinced you that this high school draftee out of South Florida was a top 100 guy when he was picked?
Yeah, I mean, being the youngest guy or one of the youngest guys in the draft, he's 17 years old, and seeing how advanced that swing is. This was one where it was like, I can't back it with data because you only have so much information on 17-year-old high school guys. Seeing how advanced the swing is, seeing how much projection there is in his frame already too, in the athleticism. This is me just betting on like, this is my old school eye test scout hat going on here where, normally it's mixing the data with the eye test with, all the different things that we can put together here to get a final answer. With Nimmala, it was just that swing freaking plays. And I see projection. Like, I think this is going to work out. And this is just a guy I'm very excited about.
Who's more blocked, Michael Bush, who's in the 80s, or Joey Ortiz, who's a little bit higher in this top 100 list?
Dude, I think Joey Ortiz is more blocked just because of like they have like three dudes that can play shortstop at a high level, and like one of the calling cards of Joey Ortiz, even though he's raking with the O's, is the glove. So I think Ortiz is like the most blocked, but Michael Bush kind of blocks himself a little bit by not being able to play much defense anywhere besides third base.
Yeah, but this guy hits, man. It's incredible what he does with the stick.
Oh yeah.
In the 70s, might as well prime people on Osleivis Basabe because he's going to play a lot for a team that's going to be in the postseason.
Yeah.
Osleivis Basabe is in the high 70s right now. This is a guy that I know you've ID'd as one of the more underrated prospects in all of Major League Baseball. He's kind of that utility guy. He can play second, he can play third, he can play short. With Taylor Walls dealing with that oblique thing, and the thing we just talked about with Wander Franco.
Yeah.
Osleivis Basabe, like, what can he do as the shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays for the next 6 weeks?
Look, you're not gonna replace Wander Franco, for however long he's out. But the thing is you can plug someone in there that's not going to hurt you, and I think is going to do everything that you need to be done. And he has a chance to get hot and maybe get on a nice little roll here. But the reason why I love Basabe is it's good defense at short, it's great defense at second, it's great defense at third, it's above average speed, and he puts bat on ball consistently. The guy might never make an all-star game, but he's a top 100 prospect because I feel so confident that he's a big leaguer and probably an above average one. His numbers are not as good as I think his ability would indicate and how he's played this year. A lot of bad batted ball luck. I think he, ran into a little bit of a rough stretch and has really been swinging it well lately. And then for a guy that, doesn't offer a ton of like power in games, he hits the ball harder than you think. And I think there is a little bit more room for some extra pop, a lot of doubles, a lot of triples, sneaks in some homers. I think he's just a kind of player that everybody needs. And I talk about like John Birdie with the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Like think about that, but even like better with the glove. Like that's a really good player that always gets overlooked.
Not as fast though, right? Because Birdie can lead Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Birdie's faster. I think Basabe is a better hitter, bat to ball wise.
Player. Yeah. Got you. Another guy in the 70s, Ceddanne Rafaela with the Red Sox. He's hammering AAA right now. Can the Red Sox faithful expect to see a teensy bit of Ceddanne Rafaela in September?
I think so because there's, I feel like the Red Sox, are waiting for Rafaela to, and this is just guessing.
Yeah.
The reason why we haven't seen him yet is like they want him to improve his approach. This guy's one of the most aggressive hitters in the minor leagues. I think it's just going to have to be one of those things that you put up with. Like he's going to have some really frustrating stretches and he's going to have some stretches where he's the hottest hitter on the planet potentially. Like that's the kind of guy you're getting here. You're getting a guy that's 40% chase rate. He's going to swing way too much, but power that defies his frame. I mean, the exit velocities are not of what you see from a 5'8", right-handed hitter. And beyond that, elite defender in center field, can play impact defense at shortstop, can steal bags, and gets into his power in games because he hits the ball in the air. This is a 2020 threat with elite defensive potential, at multiple spots. If his arm was stronger, I'd say elite defensive shortstop, but he could still be a really solid defensive shortstop. That's a really fun player. I wish he would improve his approach, but yeah, no prospect's perfect.
Yeah. I love this stack in the 60s here. Got Marco Luciano, big leaguer with the Giants. Christian Encarnacion Strand, big leaguer with the Reds. Luis Baez, who just got off the complex with the Houston Astros. This is the beauty of the top 100, man. But CES, I think people know the lowdown. He's an amazing hitter. Was CES a top 100 guy coming into the year? I don't think so.
He was just missed. He just missed.
But dude, like, it's so impossible to ignore what this guy does offensively. And the bat kind of makes this list.
Yeah, it's it. I mean, he ain't giving you much more value other than that. But, you know, when you see what he did this year in AAA, my big concern was how he'd hit velocity. You know, he was getting tied up with hard stuff inside, really improved in that regard. And at that point, I'm like, all right. And then he starts cutting down on the chase. That was another guy that people kept saying, why haven't we seen CES yet? Why? Because he's chasing 40% of pitches. He's going to get exposed to the big leagues. He cut that down progressively in AAA. And then we saw him called up to the big leagues, and he's starting to look pretty comfortable up there. And it's special power.
Luciano, is he the long-term answer at shortstop for the Giants?
Ain't that the question, man? He was one of the hardest guys to rank for me because there's the prospect fatigue side of it where it's like, oh, is he ever going to figure this out? Well, maybe not, but he's also just turned 22.
Yeah.
So there's like this, he's missed time with injury. I will say this, his defense has improved a ton. His approach has improved. He's going to strike out. Like, it's just going to come with it. He's going to strike out. But if he can walk, run to homers, and play good defense, I think he is the answer at shortstop until he fails. And I think it's kind of a coin flip if he's going to be able to really hold it down. But if he does, he's going to be damn good.
You've got three of the farthest proximity guys away from the big leagues on this list in the 60s. In Luis Baez with the Astros, in Samuel Basabe with the Orioles, although Basabe is amazing. He might just climb like a rocket ship. Who knows? He is a catcher, though. And Luis Lara with the Milwaukee Brewers. If you had to collect one guy in the card sphere out of Luis Baez, Luis Lara, Samuel Basabe, where are you going?
So I don't like catchers when I'm collecting cards for the most part, unless it was Endy Rodriguez. That was the one card I collected. Basabe might be a candidate to move off of catcher. The reason why he's so highly regarded, though, is he has a shot to stick there, huge power from the left side.
Insane.
But he's pretty maxed out physically. There's a little bit more whiff, maybe than you'd expect. I'd collect Baez, I think, because I've been floored by this guy. I mean, he was striking out at the DSL last year, Dominican Summer League, goes to the complex to start this season, looks like a different hitter, making way more contact, not striking out, and then gets the bump up to low A already as a 19-year-old and is putting up great numbers there. He's already flashing plus exit velocities, above average, bat to ball skills. So, and this was one of the guys that the Astros paid up for. He got over $1 million. I think this guy's going to be really damn good, and he's going to be on a lot of top 100 lists, I think, very soon.
You have cards available? Have you checked in on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. When he does, where do they got to go?
Oh, alts.
They have to
go check out alts.
Yes. Baseball card market heating up in the second half of the season. Only place to search for Luis Baez, Luis Lara, Samuel Basabe, whichever of the three you want to choose is alt.xyz, alt.xyz. Alt is the only platform that allows you to search for all the major marketplaces and eBay at once for these individuals. Just download the free Alt app using our link below in the show notes. Type a player or their card into the search bar, and Alt going to give you every graded card available for sale. Even better, save your search. You can get notified every time that card is available. You want Basabe, but it's all scooped up. Go save your search, and you'll get a ping whenever Samuel Basabe appears on eBay or the other major marketplaces. You will never use another app for researching and buying baseball cards ever again. We hope to be one-stop shopping for baseball coverage. Alt is your one-stop shopping for baseball card purchasing. Jumping into the 50s here, Rhett Lauder, who is taken to the top 10 by the Cincinnati Reds. He was the number 2 college pitcher off the board. Lauder checks in the high 50s, just ahead or just behind Robbie Snelling, who was a high school draftee by the Padres last year. These are two very intriguing arms, I think. Snelling is a power pitcher, was a power 5 linebacker prospect in football, or linebacker recruit, I guess, prospect recruit.
Yeah, recruit.
All that. Yeah, linebacker recruit. Snelling is power. Louder, there's a little bit more power in there than you would expect, but I mean, this guy has limbs whipping all over the place. Those two, they're such different arms, yet they stack here because they both look like possible future front of the rotation guys.
When they both pound the zone with 3 pitches, and I think that's the most underrated thing about Robbie Snelling is high school lefty. You're kind of, he's a powerful dude because he was a linebacker with offers from Bama, Texas, name a Power 5 school. He was a 4-star. He was a 4-star linebacker. I mean, that's crazy. But the thing with the athleticism that you see with somebody like Robbie Snelling is he repeats his delivery so well already for a high school lefty. He's a candidate to probably see a tick up and stuff. It's just so impressive, his feel for a fastball, a curveball that he manipulates already, which that was a really fun watch for me, watching the way that he would manipulate the curveball to make it almost 2 different pitches at times. And then this changeup that's, behind the curveball, but already pretty advanced for a high school arm. I thought that was something that just kind of really put him forward for me. And then it's low effort with that athleticism. Louder, I mean, dude, just look at the college numbers. But if you look at the college data, people are talking about, the fastball quality, blah, blah, blah. He's got a 4-seamer and a sinker. If you are concerned about a guy's fastball quality, if he has 2 different ways that he can throw that fastball, buzz you up at the top at 94, 95, it's not like he throws 80, 94, 95. And then he also, if it's not getting that whiff, if it's not jumping the way that you want it to that day, you've got that sinker as well that can get you ground balls at the bottom of the zone, which he got a lot of ground balls there. And then this is a dude that landed his slider for a strike 70+% of the time, landed his changeup for a strike almost 70% of the time. He can mix in any of his pitches whenever he wants, wherever he wants, and that's going to make him pretty much a high probability mid-rotation arm if he stays healthy.
Okay, so Snelling and Louder, they're not safe. Like, no pitching prospect is safe, but they are reliable. Relatively. They are reliable. Jacob Misiorowski is the exact opposite of that. Yeah. The star of the futures game, the right-handed pitching prospect with the Milwaukee Brewers. Misiorowski is not somebody you look at and say, yeah, definitely safe. But he is somebody you look at and say, if this guy throws strikes, this is no-hitter type shit every time he steps on the hill. Like, what kind of arsenal are we looking at with Misiorowski?
I don't even know how to answer that question, dude. Yeah. A one-of-a-kind type arsenal, I guess, would be the answer. I don't have a descriptor for it because it's so absurd. You talk about limbs flying everywhere. I mean, this dude's slender man out there. And then, you got it coming in on you at 98, 99, 100. He's touched 102. And then this cutter that he throws in 90 to 93, sometimes it backs up at 93. Sometimes it cuts to his glove side. Either way, it's a nightmare. And then he's got that sweeper in the mid 80s that is just devastating. It's one of the more ridiculous pitch mixes we've seen from a prospect in a while. The challenge is throwing strikes. He's across his entire arsenal, lower than a 60% strike rate. When he's not going right, guys can hunt fastball. And even if you throw 100, man, when it's at the bottom of the zone, it'll get hit hard from time to time. So that's his issue. I think his last outing just puts it in perspective perfectly. 3 2/3 against the Tennessee Smokies, Cubs AA affiliate.
Yeah. 2
earned runs, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 hit by pitch, 9 Ks. It's just going to be one of those roller coasters you got to ride. And I think he would be higher on the list if there wasn't such high reliever risk.
Yeah.
And, there's just too much. And I'm thinking about what pitching prospects am I taking over this guy? There's a few, because I at the end of the day, I don't want to be worried if the guy that I picked is going to stick in the rotation. And there's guys that I have a lot of confidence will stick in the rotation ahead of him. But just on sheer stuff, this is still one of the best right-handed pitching prospects in the game.
Yeah, 2 of the righty pitching prospects that you would take over him are 46 and 47 in this. They're in the mid-40s. Before that, just inside the top 50 is Luisangel Acuña, now with the Mets. This is a real quick question. And I don't need, much expansion on this answer. With how bad the Mets look right now, and with how good Acuña has been so far in the minor leagues, how soon can we see Luisangel Acuña in a Mets uniform?
Well, he's hitting 163 since being traded to the Mets, so he's actually cooked.
He is cooked. Is he going to go to St. Lucie Is that how we're going to do this?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because he's such a good defender. And I think the defense at short is a big calling card there. Of course, that doesn't matter when you have the defender at short in Francisco Lindor. He's, would be one of the best defensive second basemen, I think, in baseball with how good he is with the glove. So I guess it depends on where the Mets feel like they're at in terms of the rest of the club. But just in a vacuum of when I think he could be ready, I think end of next season. I think end of next season is very possible. So he'll probably start next year at Triple, and starting there, we'll see how he does. And he's ahead of schedule. He's young. I think if he performs well in AAA, he could be up there by the end of next year. But it'd be funny to see him leapfrog Ronnie Mauricio, who's just been in Triple forever. They're just never going to bring him up, I guess.
He's been so good in Triple too. Like, I don't know why he's not up yet, but I guess that's a conversation for another episode. Although Mauricio is still, a top 100 prospect. I mean, Mauricio's been really good to this point. So
yeah, he had his ebbs and flows, but you look at the end of the year and it's a good stat line usually.
For sure. All right, mid 40s guys. You've got AJ Smith-Shawver and Tink Hence stacked, and you gave the edge to Tink Hence. We had a conversation about Smith-Shawver, and it was, how much do you want to ding him for, getting up there, not sticking there and struggling in Triple when this guy was fast tracked out the ass, when Tink Hence with the Cardinals has, I guess kind of been baby before he got to Double. And now like he's just starting to get stretched out to 5 innings. Does he have a 6-inning start under his belt yet?
Not that I know of.
I don't think he has one.
I have an alarm set. Alt couldn't notify me of that one, but I do have an alarm set for when he goes 6+. And I don't think I've gotten that. I don't think I've gotten that alert yet.
Yeah. So I guess, are you worried about the, I don't know, lack of information about Tink Hence when he gets tired? I'm not sure if he's gotten tired in a start yet.
I'll be honest. We will pull back the curtain here, Jack. We're recording this at 4 p.m. on August 14th. The list will be live as people are listening to this at, 8 a.m. on August 15th. That's one of those that I was going to sit down on the couch tonight and just kind of lament over back and forth. So here we are. And I guess this will be the Easter egg surprise. Which way do we go here? Hence was somebody that I saw more upside with Arsenal wise. Yeah. But to your point, like we've seen kind of the stuff being consistent. He went 80 pitches. He's finally going 80 pitches, by the way. He's never done that. Now, over the last few starts, he's finally been allowed to go 75, 80 pitches. And we saw him 80 pitches, sitting 96, touching 97, 98. And then the next start, it's 94, 95. And then he's back up to 96, 97, 98. Then he's back kind of down to 94, 95. So I do have some concerns there. And the craziest part is Smith-Shawver is actually younger. So I think by the time we actually finalize it, we might put Smith-Shawver ahead of Hence.
But Smith-Shawver has been underwhelming in AAA and the big leagues. And Hence, while he's dealing with it at a lower level and he's far more protected, he has never been underwhelming.
Yes. So it's like, do you pit that against him? If we kept Smith-Shawver, if the Braves keep Smith-Shawver in high A and then double A, and he's putting up video game numbers, which he probably would have.
Yeah.
Then where are we considering him? And that was a really fun conversation you and I had on the call up. And I think that psychology is kind of part of the reason why we had him behind Hence, to begin with. But the more I think about it, the more we talk about it. It also doesn't help that Hence's last outing, he got shellacked. But I try not to look at it outing to outing like that. But he's only made a handful in double A, and not all of them have been very good. I think you got to give the edge to Smith-Shawver for a few reasons, and he'll probably end up being ahead of Hence by the time we hit publish. Got you.
3 big leaguers here stacked: Emmett Sheehan of the Dodgers, Sal Frelick of the Brewers, Jordan Westburg of the Baltimore Orioles. Westburg, I think we are in the wait and see mode, because Westburg is another guy that can play a good middle infield that is blocking Joey Ortiz, and Ortiz is right here in that 40 to 60 range as well. Sheehan has really, really struggled with the Dodgers so far. Why is Emmett Sheehan still a top 40 prospect for you?
Yeah, I'm not that worried about it. Pitching's hard, man. And adjusting to the big leagues is really, really, really hard. And I was looking at some of the starts where he struggled at the big league level and then, when he was successful in double A. And remember, there's a guy that went straight from double to the big leagues. We see that more and more because they don't really want to stick guys in the PCL as much. Sheehan checks a lot of the boxes that I love in my favorite pitching prospects. Number one being that low vertical release point that, we talked about with Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. He's got that too. For a 6'5" guy to have the vertical release point as low as he has it is really impressive. The number one thing that stood out to me was he's just not getting away with what he got away with in the minor leagues, which was in double A, I fall behind in the count. It's 2-0. Now I go to the fastball that is a plus pitch and I blow it by you and I even the count up. And then I go to one of my changeup or my cutter or slider. In the big leagues, I fall behind. Now I go to my fastball, and even though it's a really damn good one, they get on top of it and they crush it. And that's kind of been where he's at. I've seen the trend of him commanding the secondaries a little bit better. I think that's pretty much all he needs. It's not bad. It's not like it's inconsistent enough where I'm incredibly concerned. It's just not big league consistently good yet. So I think it's really just about the secondary command. But I look at the low vertical release point, the carry on the fastball at 96 to 97. And then the fact that he has better secondaries than Bryce Miller. He has better secondaries than Brian Wu. I think his secondaries have more potential than Joe Ryan. And so you look at those, you look at that. Again, there's command is the big part though. Yeah. If you're a fastball heavy guy, he threw his fastball 65% of the time. All those guys I just mentioned throw their fastball 60% of the time. The difference is they spot their fastball. Sheehan is not spotting it just yet, but Sheehan has better secondaries. So either he needs to see a jump in the command of the fastball or improve his feel for his secondaries. I like that he has two different paths here, both of which I think are very possible. And if he does both, he could end up being a guy that we look back on and say he was actually one of the best pitching prospects, period. So I'm a believer in Sheehan, and I think he's going to figure it out.
If you were to buy stock in one Dodger arm moving forward, and I'll give you Sheehan, I'll give you Bobby Miller, I'll give you Gavin Stone, who is on this top 100 list, and I'll give you everybody else, Frasso, Hurd, Knack, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Where are you putting your chips?
Yeah, Miller first, because that guy's just figured it out. Sheehan, not as far behind as people would think, and then Stone's kind of like another step below. But I also like what I've seen from Stone. There's another guy that, okay, I dominated dudes with my changeup and was able to just kind of ride that to success. Big leaguers start spitting on that a little bit. I need another pitch. He adjusted the slider. He's throwing a hard cutter now at 89, 90, and he's had a lot of success of late now in AAA. And I think he's going to come back and make an impact. I do.
Yeah. All right. MLB Pipeline has this guy at 11. Baseball America has this guy at 16. You have this guy in the mid-30s. Where is your concern with Red Sox shortstop Marcelo Meyer?
Yeah, there's a few things. There's a few things. I like Marcelo Meyer a lot. I will say that. I think he has a chance to be a very good baseball player. I also think there's a lot of draft bias. There always is. A guy that's drafted high that looks the part, we tend to shove him up lists. Myers put up good numbers at the lower levels, but I see some definite issues with the swing. He is a really pronounced barrel tip, and you'll see when he loads, like it is a really, and it's a hand pump, so it's like down, up, down, and he's got to get it back down to get flat and enter the hitting zone.
Doesn't Vientos do that too? I think that's a Mark Vientos thing too, where he
used to, and then he really quieted it down. Okay. Meyer will tip the barrel to the point where it's like pointing straight up in the sky.
Oh, Mercedes look.
Yeah. So, and when you're down, up, down, it's hard to get back to the right spot. And he's just been getting blown up, and it throws off your timing. And, when you start getting hard stuff in on you, then you start cheating earlier. When you start cheating earlier, then you start making decisions earlier. When you make decisions earlier, the decisions tend to be wrong. So when you look at Marcelo Meyer's last 30 games in AA, he's hitting 171 against four-seam fastballs. And how is that kind of trickled down to everything else? Chase rates jumped up to 36% because he doesn't trust his ability to turn around velo. And then now you're taking bad swings at breaking balls, and you're just caught in between. So I see a guy right now where I think it's just going to be a tough finish to the year in AA because it's just not one of those things that you're going to be able to change overnight. And then he's going to have to go to the drawing board a little bit, I think, in the offseason and make some adjustments. The good news is he has long levers, which I think is part of the problem too, of being quick to the ball. He has long levers. He generates easy power. The swing is very smooth when it finally does get going through the zone. And there's a lot to like. I mean, it's all Fields leverage that he's able to create. But right now, he's struggling to get to velocity, and he's catching himself in between. And, that's just too much risk for me right now to have him as high as some of the other guys that we're talking about. I think if you look at the players that they have him ranked ahead of, you mentioned the other two lists, I feel like they almost, if you ask them on the spot, hey, would you take Meyer over this guy, and this guy that they have ranked behind them? I don't know if they'd say yes. I think it's almost like this, you have to throw Marcelo Meyer in the top 20 kind of thing because he's a name and he was a top pick and he's in a major organization.
I hope people don't hate like how much we're bouncing around right now, but that's what the top 100 list is, man. Like we're going big leaguer to complex guy to recently drafted guy to, top 10 pick that is like underwhelming by some standards, but this is the beauty of the top 100. And this is the beauty of the best prospects in baseball. Like you just get every type of flavor when you go to the ice cream.
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
This is a blast for us. Give me the elevator pitch on Owen Caissie, the Cubs outfield prospect that is number 30 in all of baseball. You are the high man on Caissie, and I guarantee that.
Oh, we have been for a minute. At Just Baseball. I think we had him on top 100 list before anybody else did, and then we had him higher on top 100 lists. And I think he's still not even on a lot of top 100 lists. But Caissie, man, you look at the exit velocity. People talk about the whiff. There's whiff there for sure. I mean, he's 6'5", left-handed hitting power hitter who was in the Southern League, which is that experimental pre-tacked baseball league that he had to deal with as one of the younger players, his age 20 season in that level, and still is leading the league in home runs and just pulverizing baseballs. If you look, since they stopped using those pre-tacked baseballs, Owen Caissie's strikeout rate has dropped to 25% and his walk rate's up to 14%. The big selling point for him is the fact that he's produced at every level despite being one of the younger players at that level. And the power is some of the best in the minor leagues. Like I don't think people realize that his average exit velocity is on, I think would be tied with Rafael Devers for the 14th best in Major League Baseball, if I'm not mistaken. And his 90th percentile exit velocity of 110 miles an hour would also be among the 10 best in Major League Baseball. And this is a 6'4" kid who still has plenty of room to maybe even add even more muscle. Cannon from the corner outfield. He's cut down the chase. If he strikes out 25 to 30% of the time, I don't know if I care because he can actually hit 40 home runs. And I don't know how many guys on this list can actually hit 40 home runs, but he's one of them.
Yeah, I'd say him, Wood. Who else?
40? Yeah.
Might be him and Wood.
Yeah, like maybe Wyatt Langford. Maybe. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Caminero if he lifts the ball more, but like that's not really his game.
One more guy that I want to talk to. I want to, kind of get your pitch on before I get one sentence on each of the top 10 prospects in baseball. That's how we're going to end it. One sentence. It's going to be, give me your 10-second pitch on each of these guys. Who is Roman Anthony of the Boston Red Sox, and why is he a top 25 prospect in baseball?
Yeah, Roman Anthony's fun, man. And it's cool to see him kind of overtake the top prospect spot in the Red Sox system. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas draft pick. So same place as Kobe Mayo, same place as Jesus Luzardo, same place as Anthony Rizzo and others. That's not why he's ranked high, but it is also a reason why he was able to hit the ground running so well in professional baseball. This guy's got staying power in center field. He's a left-handed hitter with plus power potential. And I think he can develop into an average or better hitter. We're seeing him put up big numbers in high A. And what I love from the video that I've seen, I mean, it's all Fields. They've got that Green Monster replica in Greenville.
Yeah.
And he is just wearing it out, man. I think he's already hit 6 or 7 home runs in his 20 games there the other way. And it's just something I know he's going to be able to do at the big league level. He's just going to slap it the other way and sneak it over the monster sometimes or crush it over the monster. The pull side power is immense. He's an above average runner. The approach is fantastic. He chases less than 20% of the time. So for me, I see monster offensive potential. He's still 19 years old. He's putting up big numbers in high A already. He could be a really special talent. And with the chance to stick in center field, you can make a case that he's kind of one of the next candidates to be one of the, the next wave of top 5-6 prospects in baseball when we get, the wave ahead of him graduating.
Yeah. I was checking here. I feel like each ballpark in the Red Sox organization has some form of like a green monster. I know they have it at JetBlue, which is where their low A team plays. They've got it in high A in Greenville. I think in double A, they do have one. They've got that tall wall in left in Portland.
And in Portland. Salem doesn't have it though.
Salem doesn't have it. You're right. Oh, I guess their low A isn't at the complex. Good point. And then the Worcester wall, I think it's in right field. I think there's a tall wall in right instead of left. So you need some sort of gimmick, and they have it.
Yeah.
All right. One sentence on each of the top 10 guys. I know that's really hard, but we're going to do it, man. We're up against the hour, and we're going to try it.
Okay.
The Rockies have a top 10 prospect in baseball in Adael Amador. Give me the lowdown on Amador.
Best bat to ball in the minor league, switch hitter.
Cool. Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs is the number 9 prospect in baseball.
Best defensive outfielder in the minor leagues, Michael Harris starter kit.
Holy superlatives we got going on. James Wood of the Washington Nationals is number 8. What's the word?
6'7" center fielder who can hit 35, 40 pumps.
Okay. Number 7, Jackson Merrill, shortstop of the San Diego Padres. This guy has climbed to double A in the blink of an eye.
5-tool potential with a field to hit that you don't see from a 6'3" kid.
Really? Let's hang on that 5-tool. You think he's fast enough for that?
I think people really sleep on the speed. Okay. I think they do. He can run. Even if he slows down a little bit, I still think that there's a lot of simple, a close enough. Call it 4.5 tools. Left-handed hitting shortstop. I'll take it.
Got you. Number 6, Livy Dunn's boyfriend, right-handed pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Is that confirmed?
I think so. Didn't the New York Post confirm it?
Jesus Christ. Good for him. I mean, upper 90s where you want it, wipeout slider. This guy won't be in the minors long.
His name is Paul Skeens, by the way. You're really good at LSU, but he's also Livy Dunn's boyfriend. Number 5, Livy Dunn's boyfriend's college teammate is with the Washington Nationals now.
Dylan Cruz. I mean, elite approach, good field to hit, above average. It's just everything is above average or better.
These guys were constantly stacked until right now. Marcelo Myers at 34. Jordan Lawler, shortstop of the Arizona Diamondbacks, is at 4. What separated him?
How happy are you?
Very, very, very,
This is a common Jack McMullen W. He's always liked Lawler more than Meyer, and I, out of the gate, liked Meyer more. But to stick to the one sentence thing, freak athlete, unbelievably advanced field to hit for what I thought he would be. Powers developing, good glove.
Okay. Jackson Chorio, outfielder with the Milwaukee Brewers. Let me just walk you through last 30 days. I think he's hitting 380 and has almost as many extra base hits as he does strikeouts as a 19-year-old in double A. He was dealing with that tack baseball, and now he is on fire.
Unteachable bat speed, frame defying power, flies on the bases. It's just special talent.
Okay. The Rays have a guy that has pushed his ETA maybe 3 years this year in Junior Caminero, who's a third baseman in the Rays system.
Can I fuck the one sentence thing for a second?
That's fine.
He hit 3 home runs yesterday or the day before. And the third home run went 472 feet. It was a doubleheader where he went 5 for 8 with 3 homers and 7 RBI and a 472-foot home run.
Shit.
So just start with that. Yeah, I would say elite exit velocities, a sneaky good field to hit, and I don't even think he's done developing.
Did he go off the top 100 to 2?
No, we had him at 90, 88-ish. And we were like the high guys on him going into the year. Preseason 88, 90 range.
I'll tell you if Caminero, before we get to number one, Junior Caminero, Baseball Reference does a great job kind of like compressing everybody.
I know, dude. My dying wish will be to have Just Baseball in there as well, where they show everybody's, prospectus number 56, Baseball America number 72 for each player. Like my dying wish will be Just Baseball number 2 or whatever.
I don't think that has to be your dying wish. We'll send some emails and let's see if we can get it done.
I told you, bro, this shit is all I have.
Okay, for now. You've girlfriend flexed like several times in the last month. So hey,
several
who
times,
knows, several times. The only other outlet to have him in the top 100 was Baseball Prospectus. They had him at 99 heading into this season. Pipeline did not have him top 100. Baseball America did not have him top 100. We were the high guys on Junior Caminero, and now he's the number 2 prospect in all of baseball. And number 1, Jackson Holliday, the shortstop with the Baltimore Orioles, the consensus top prospect in baseball.
This dude, did you see the video of his brother now too? There's another one who looks exactly the same.
Like, come on, man. He's a 2025, I think.
Yeah, Matt Holliday, he's shocker, knows how to teach his kids how to play baseball. But I think Matt Holliday might be like one of those really level-headed, healthy dads, because the way that they play the game too, specifically Jackson, like I'm purely guessing, but they don't play the game like they had like that helicopter drill sergeant, former big leaguer dad over them. Like it's a very laid back, and you see Matt Holliday, he just seems like such a laid back guy. I saw him, I forget what game we were at, but I saw him out there too. And you just watching Jackson just seems super laid back and chill. But anyways, his ability to just flat out hit is remarkable. At 19 years old, to jump straight out of high school and not only perform, but perform against low A, high A, and now double A pitching. He's not even close to what he can be as a baseball player. Like it's not even close. He has so much more power to tap into. His lower half, he pulls off the ball a little bit still. He leaks out with his front hip, but his hands are so damn good that when he leaks out, he will still shoot it the other way for a hit or pull it, through the right side for a base hit. Like this guy's swing is not even a finished product. And he's hitting, 380 this year? No, like 342 now, I think, across every level. Yeah, 380 in double. There's been some batted ball luck in double. I don't care. Like, it's just a ridiculous field to hit and a ridiculously good approach. To be doing what he's doing and only chasing 19% of the time. And, since he's gone to double, I think the zone contact's at like 88%, which is insane. When he starts tapping into above average power, because right now it's really been closer to average power, this guy is going to be one of the, I think, his upside's MVP candidate. Really, it's think Gunnar Henderson type, but maybe a little bit less power and more hit. That's scary as hell.
Like, sure, man, I'll take it. Jackson Holliday, 19 games, has 30 hits in double A as a 19-year-old. This guy, 14 games in low A, 57 in high A, 19 in double. In 90 total games, he's slashing 342, 461, 537. That's a 998 OPS.
He has 3 5-hit games already. He has 2 4-hit games already. And he has 5 3-hit games already. Multi-hit games, if I count them all, will go to 2 hours. It's unbelievable.
Damn, man. Just kind of wrapping up on Holliday, like, I think the point you make is awesome. And the Holidays are borderline like entering royal family in baseball category. Mm-hmm. I think the Griffies are there too, but I mean, it's Matt's brother that's the head coach at Oklahoma State. Tom is the dad. Tom was the head coach at Chatham for a good bit.
Yeah.
I think he just finished up earlier this year. But like, man, if Jackson works out and the younger Holliday that I think is a 25 or a 26 works out, I mean, the Holidays we could be talking about is like one of the all-time baseball families, and they get better kind of generation by generation, which is so cool. But yeah, like just watching Jackson play baseball, it almost feels like Matt didn't tell Jackson he needed to play baseball. Jackson was like, Daddy has a cool job. I want to do that too. Yeah. And that's the way he plays the game.
Yeah. And he's sick at it. So it's really cool. And if he grows to be like the physical, he's not going to be as tall, but if he fills out the way his dad was, I mean, This is an MVP candidate.
He also has an adult body with a 12-year-old face. Like everybody wants to make fun of his 10, 12-year-old face. Like he's got like a 19-year-old, like advanced. He's got a 25-year-old's body.
Yeah, no, and that's why he's succeeding against 25-year-olds.
Yeah, big time. All right. So that is your little survey rundown of the top 100. Obviously, there are about 80 names that we didn't mention. So go to justbaseball.com and read the masterclass of Aram Leighton. You have one more thing.
Yeah, we'll be doing, I figure a lot of people listen in the morning or maybe, during their lunch or whatever it may be, or you might even be driving home. We are going to do a Twitter space on Tuesday, the 15th. So as you're listening to this, I believe it'll be right around 6:00. Where I'll be answering kind of as many questions as we can on the top 100 list. We might start it a little bit earlier if that means that Jack can hop in for a little bit before his broadcast. The original plan was to do it on Monday on Jack's off day, but of course I had to put in a little bit more work into this thing. But yeah, we're going to do a Twitter space. So keep an eye out for that. Follow us on Twitter to get a heads up if we're doing it around 6 PM. I'm excited to just answer any questions and, just kind of talk top 100 and talk prospects.
Yeah, man. So again, kick-ass job. You don't need to hear it from me, but I am, I don't know, I guess your biggest critic. So whenever I can tap you on the back, I will do so.
All right. Looking forward to that day when it comes.
I'm doing it right now. Can you not notice?
Oh, thanks. You are? No, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm not used to it.
Good job, Aram.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
All right. Every link you need is in the show notes. We will link the top 100 prospects in the show notes as well. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to just go click on it and read the whole damn thing, it is The Odyssey by Homer - Aram Leighton. Yeah, that's that. And Aram and Peter, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.